Just hold it up at the right time.
Okay.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back to Cuppa Tea with the Vet. It's our first one of 2021, and we have got Christel van Veen joining us. Hi, Christel. Happy New Year.
Hello, Happy New Year.
And we're looking forward to speaking to Christel because actually, funnily enough, I have known Christel for years. Which is really, really weird. We go back way back because Christel used to work at Castle Vets, and that was where I was working as an emergency nurse back at Vets Now. And then I ended up being a physio there. And yeah,
did some crazy surgeries together, didn't we? And I did a Vets Now locum shift.
Yes, I don't think I could ever forget it, to be honest. So yeah, mental times. So
Yeah.
Christel, please introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name's Christel. I am a small animal vet, and last week officially we started on the road with my new mobile small animal veterinary surgery, which is VetMobile UK. Doing a lot of things that a small animal vet surgery would do, minus x-rays, surgery and hospitalisation, but I reckon we can put our hand at most other things. We've got bloods and ultrasound and acupuncture, and normal vet stuff too, nail clipping and vaccines when it's appropriate. And yeah, it's a little bit of old-fashioned vetting. We're giving people lots of time and meeting people in their homes, and it's great so far.
Well, firstly, congratulations, because that's a really big thing. You know, it's been a really massive investment, huge investment of time, money, buying your van, and trying to work out how to run a business in a very different way to the traditional. So, that's really great. And I love that you say, you know, old-fashioned vetting, because actually I do think that's something that, you know, people do sort of miss is, you know, when they know that they're always going to see the same vet, and, you know, it's something that people love, that consistency. So for you to have found a way to achieve that is wonderful.
Yeah.
So what inspired you to do this? What made you think, oh, I'm going to go on the road?
So I used to do, around my full-time job, I used to do home visit acupuncture. It was supposed to be horses. I was supposed to, it was called pony pins, there's the clue. And I wanted to just do a little bit of stuff outside of work. I got permission from work to do it, etc. But I ended up doing lots of dogs, and I would go and visit people in their homes, and I would acupuncture their dogs. And these were lovely people, you know, really invested in their pets. They really wanted to put the time in, the money in, all the rest of it. And they would ask me questions about normal stuff, and you could tell there was definitely a market, or would be, not a market, but like a need for people to have someone to come and do things in their home. And that was 2008, 2009. And then I got super busy with life and stuff, and I gave it up. There wasn't quite enough work to keep it ticking over. And then the practice, which I loved, which I was at for 18 years, they got bought by a corporate in 2018, and my very first thought was, because I'd never wanted to work for a corporate, that was why I chose to work for them in the first place, was they were a big independent, was, that's it, I'm going mobile. Then I looked at it and it all looked a bit scary, so I went out and I stuck with my job. But then this year, well, in the past 12 months, we went through a fairly decent family tragedy, which made me reevaluate a lot of things. And then obviously coronavirus happened, which has been so hard for everyone in the veterinary profession. I can't even tell you how exhausting everything has been. It's been relentless. Some clients have been fantastic. Others have been fairly difficult at understanding why people are doing less or whatever. On the main, people have been lovely. And it all just fed into this desire for me to do something different. And so I looked into it a bit more, and then I looked into it a bit more, and then I found a van, and I put a deposit on the van, and then it kind of snowballed from there. And I spent sort of 6 months between putting the deposit on the van and really getting on the road, doing everything and learning so much about an industry that I've worked in for 18 years. I knew nothing about how anything ran, and it's been the biggest learning curve of my life so far.
Yeah.
But it's been so far brilliantly received, and my aim is hopefully to work alongside local vets when people want care at home, but they'll also want care in a surgery. And my hope is that there's enough work for everybody, there's enough clients for everybody, and just to work alongside everybody and provide a different service that isn't available in this area that is clearly really needed.
I think that's a fantastic thing, and what a great, collaboration. You're absolutely right. Teamwork, veterinary does need to be a massive team effort from lots of different areas. And you're absolutely right. There's some patients just simply can't get out, or some owners that simply can't get out. And so having that less stress environment can be the world for some. So, not necessarily needed for others. So yeah, that's fantastic, and I wish you every luck, and I hope that you do get those collaborations. That would be wonderful. Now I have to tell you, the people are just swinging on here with the comments, so thank you so much everybody for joining in and joining us. I am absolutely thrilled. So hello to all of you. Mag says hi, Christel. Hello. David wants to know, where does VetMobile Mobile Vet cover? What's your area?
So there's a picture on the website. I was advised by another mobile vet who's in the Fleet area to keep the area quite small so that you could do a good service. So my sort of core area is about 5 to 7 miles radius around from where I live, and I'm in Upper Wolverhampton. So it's kind of Newbury to Thiel to Upper Basildon and the north, and kind of Brimpton and things in the south. I do have clients outside of that. I just Mercy dashed over to Spencer's Wood for somebody this evening. If it's sort of within about a 20-minute journey, then it can be quite a lot more distance. So, if you can use the motorway. But the aim is really, I don't want to spend more time driving than I spend with people.
Of course.
I really feel like giving my time to the people is much more important than putting the miles on the road. So there's some flexibility. And for example, we've been asked to go and do a whole litter of puppies next week, which are a bit further away than that. They're about 45 minutes away, but that's a kind of a one-off job. And, it's puppies, so they're cute.
Okay.
It'll be nicer for them than being taken out of their home to go. So, some things like that will go out of our area for, but we're trying to stick to an area. And I'm not covering much of Reading, obviously, due to not wanting to have any kind of conflict of previous employers and things.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. So Jane also says hiya, and Laura says
Jane as in mother.
I love it when mums get involved. Thanks, Mum. That's great. So her question is the mobile vet model unique, or do you know others around the UK?
There are
Good question.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. There are others around the UK. There's one, as I say, there's one in the Fleet area who started last year just before lockdown. Similar age and ideas to me, I think. There's somebody more in the Hampshire area. There's obviously Chris Furley in Henley. He's been doing it for quite some time, and it's actually not uncommon. London is there's quite a few of them there, and I think my pop-up clinics are probably unique or unusual, at least amongst most of the mobile vets. But I think I sort of pinched that from a London, I believe it's a charity, it might have been PDSA or someone, that I saw they were doing little outreach clinics where they would be somewhere for a period of time. And I thought that was quite a good way for some of my out of area clients to come to me, and also to allow people to access my services for a little bit less cost than me going to the house if it was something routine. So it's so far been quite well received. We've only done 2, it's only week 2, but we have another one tomorrow in a new location, and that's booked all bar. I think we've got a tiny gap, but not enough to book anyone in. So yeah, so it's not unique, but and the very most popular, the very most successful one is probably the one on the Isle of Wight. Yeah, they set up, and they were so successful. They had a full service van where they did operations and everything. They've actually now made a base practice as well, which is great. That's not my ambition. My ambition actually is to do the care at home. But it's not, for some people it's a cheap way to start working and a way to work up to a proper practice, but that's sort of not what I'm thinking of, if that makes sense.
I suppose the thing is, life changes, doesn't it? Things change and goals change, so you never know. I mean, it might not be that the mobile person might have, like in the Isle of Wight, it might have all of a sudden got a business partner who said, actually, I want some bricks and mortars, can we go together? And then they found some teamwork there. So that's pretty cool. So it sounds like you're going to have to make a Facebook group, mobile vet group.
Yeah, maybe.
That's pretty cool.
if I've had requests for clients more in the Fleet area, I've pointed them in Rachel's direction, because I figure, you know, if they're looking for that service, they can probably get it.
Yay, that's it's so nice. I love hearing that vets working together. It's just so lovely. Well done. So Amanda has also said the best vet. Connell loves Christel.
Oh,
So that's lovely. Your fans are
Connell,
reaching out. And Rosemary,
hi
Rosemary.
Oh, Rose, hello.
Sorry, I'm talking over you now because I was just like, yay, because Rosemary's just come on and said hello and a brilliant pair, because Rosemary uses both of us, which is really lovely, isn't it?
It does.
For many, many years.
Absolutely.
So Kay also said, what a great idea. So greatest idea. So thank you so much for joining in. I'm really, really grateful of everybody's comments. So keep them coming in. And, you know, if you have any more ideas, then shove them on here too. You know, if there's a type of veterinary that you want to see, pop them on. You never know. Christel might do it or somebody else might do it, which would be really great. So innovation. So Christel, I want to know more about you. What do you like to do in your spare time?
Horses. I've been horsey forever, and it was horses that got me into being a vet, really, because it was the farrier I had a crush on when I was 14, who told me I shouldn't go to horse college. He thought I was clever enough to be a vet, so it's all Will's fault, and he knows it.
Wow.
So, but yeah, I'm down to one horse now, which is very sensible. I didn't really have time for two, but I was enjoying it a lot. I've just got my Lizzie, but she keeps me busy enough, bless her. And yeah, it's dressage that I'm really into. And having got the previous one nearly to Grand Prix, you know, training at the Grand Prix moves, my real ambition one day is to get to Grand Prix properly, and particularly with a horse I bred and have done everything with myself, which is where I'm at the moment. So.
Wow. And that's really nice that your horses is obviously separate to your work as well, because it really keeps your hobby as your hobby, which is fabulous.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of the horse people who are watching would agree that horse people are a special breed, and yeah, I didn't want to mix business with pleasure, and I'm one of those types of horse people, so I know.
That's fair enough. I'm glad you said it, not me. So well done. So Luna has, that jumped onto the wrong one. Hold on, I'll come back to that one. Hold on, I'm just going to do in order, otherwise I get it all wrong. So, sorry, Luna. That's the dog. Sheena says, Luna and Sky want to know what treats you use. I guess they're obviously yummy then.
So the ones I brought to your house were they were misfits from Pets at Home. They were just they're chicken flavour. They look really rubbish, but the dogs, almost to a man, love them. And in fact, at one of the places I go, the cats like them too, because I go and visit the dog for acupuncture, and the cats all wake up when they smell the treats, so I give them dog treats.
Hey, share and share alike. That's fabulous. So Steve says, brilliant service for reactive dogs. I actually completely agree. Totally. Tizo and Angus are listening to your voice, Christel, and wondering where you are. Oh, bless.
Would it be really mean to go, Tee? I bet she's gone mad now.
Steve, let us know. Did T just react just then? I'd like to know that too. So Caroline says, wow, which is fabulous, but I obviously didn't see what bit that was to, but whatever it was, thank you so much for saying it. Will says, always been a superstar, a leg dissection lecturer, a leg dissection lecture, as I recall. So I feel like that's an inside story we need to know about. Is that true?
Will is the farrier I had the crush on when I was 14, who told me I should be a vet. Hello, Will.
Oh, I see. Oh, so he's appreciating that he's had his mention. Well, Will, there is a lot of people out.
He gets the blame for this.
Awesome. No, I was going to say, Will, obviously all the people that are fans of Christel, they are all fans of you too, because obviously if it wasn't for you, this wouldn't have happened. So thank you, Will. I appreciate it. Amanda says, we have had the best advice. Knowing Christel can be here ASAP is so reassuring. That's fantastic. Yeah, of course it is. That is lovely. It's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the really nice things, because although I have officially set our hours as quite small, the nice thing is that actually if I can, I will go and see clients of mine if it's needed. That's the nice thing, is that especially with lockdown, it's not like we're up to very much, is it? But a lot of the time, it's not like I'm doing terribly loads of things, unless I'm at a show with the horse or we're actually physically away, which doesn't happen very much, then, you know, why can't I be available for people, you know? And it's just so nice to be able to offer that from, you know, from home. And the commute's terrible because the van is like, you know, 10 meters that way.
It's you're very James Herriot now. That's it.
It completely feels like that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because I can have all the modern science. I've got a blood machine on the van, but I can do it in a really nice personal way. And it does feel a little bit James Herriot, yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's what we all grew up with, right? So that's amazing. So Caroline says dressage. So that would be what the wow was to, was your dressage. So yeah, everybody loves hearing about you. Steve has said that yes, Teasel's head cocked up 45 degrees. So thank you for that, Steve. Susan says, God, this is just your fan club here. This is amazing. Says the best service by the best vet. How long do you allow per consultation, as most vets only offer 15 minutes?
I try and allow at least half an hour, partly because we've got to get in and out of the van for things sometimes. So, you know, if we go into the house, check the animal over, do the vaccination, and then they decide actually they'd like to do have some worming and flea treatment and things. Although we'll have weighed them, we'll have to go out to do the bit. So I make sure I've got plenty of time. Some things don't take terribly long. We did 2 cat boosters today, and it didn't take us ages to do the 2, but it meant we had a nice bit of time to chit chat. Obviously, at the moment with coronavirus, we're trying to keep our time within the home, although we're all distancing and owners have got masks and everything. We're trying to keep our time within the home minimal, so that we're abiding by all the, you know, risk assessments and things that we can. But it is, you know, there's no reason why we can't stand on the doorstep and chat for quite a lot longer if we need to. You know, it's really, it's just about giving people time. And yesterday I spent 45 minutes on the phone with an owner, making sure she was understanding what I thought was wrong with her dog. You know, and it's just lovely to be able to give people that much time. You know, I waffle a lot, as you know, and it's lovely to be able to do that.
No, I agree. That is one of the good freedoms about being your own boss, is you can make those choices, which is really lovely. And I mean, it's not just you know, from a client point of view either, but also from a clinical point of view. I mean, it's well recognized that, you know, you can obviously do a lot more if your time is longer, and like thorough arthritis assessments should be longer, and all that sort of thing. So I mean, that's really fantastic. So well done. Will has said, I have tried to take credit for the years now, but it's probably more how passionate Christel is about animals. Well, I think, Will, you're still allowed to have your credit as well. That's okay. So Christine has jumped on. Hi, Christine. Oh, I miss Christine. I haven't seen you in years. No shows at the moment for horses or dogs. Sigh. Yeah, I know. We're all just it's rubbish, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. And Jane has said, good fun. Sorry, but have to work. Oh, bless.
She's a music teacher in the Azores, and yeah, they teach even late at night over there. It's really quite bonkers.
Oh, bless. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh, well, enjoy your work. Sorry. That's Les Azores, France.
No, the Azores is Portugal. They live. It's in the middle of the Atlantic. It's beautiful.
Oh, wow.
If you get a chance, you must go. It's absolutely beautiful.
Sounds amazing. I will. Pauline has jumped on and said, when one is so worried about one's dogs, it's amazingly comforting to be able to speak with the vet direct. Totally agree. Absolutely. Do you accept all insurance companies? Amanda asks.
Should be able to. Can't see why not, because it's as long as they're happy to work with a vet, then it's fine. The direct claim thing, I mean, it's not going to come up massively often, because fingers crossed, most of my bills are not going to be those huge things, because we won't be doing surgeries and things. So I would think in most cases it will be a pay and I'll fill out the forms for you to claim it back. But you know, if we do end up with massive things, of course, yes, you know, we'll look at that. I'm sure it's possible. I have filled out forms, despite the fact that used to be a nurse job. I have had to fill out insurance forms during my career, so I do know roughly which boxes to do.
It's horrible.
Just one person, there won't be too many in one pile.
It's
Sarah. Anyway, Sarah, that might be you.
I was going to say it's a horrible job, but the insurances always change their minds as often as their pants. So, you know, it's always difficult to follow. So it's always just safest to just check with the insurance, isn't it? But yeah, most of the time these things are fine. But yeah, insurances, oh, it's a different conversation, that one, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So Christine says, but keeping all our animals fit and well is important for everything, for when everything does restart. Well, that's completely true, isn't it? And I'm sure you're out riding your horses all the time, Christel.
Yeah, and that's where your physio and everything comes in as well, isn't it? You do horses, don't you, as well?
Oh, do you know, I haven't actually done horses in years now. No, but I must admit, one of my friends asked me to do her horse last year. I think maybe it wasn't last year, actually, because that would have been wrong because it was COVID. God, the time's just disappeared, isn't it? So 2 years ago. And I must admit, I did kind of really enjoy it and going, no, I kind of missed this. But then I was like, it was like, oh, God, because you're so hard just getting in there for a good massage. You're just like having to work so hard. And I was like, yeah, dogs are easier. So, but yeah, no, it's time for me is the issue. It's just time. So I used to work with horses, you know, quite a lot. So, but no, I stick with my smallies and log cow and things, which is always good fun. So I wanted to also check and ask you, what made you decide to be a vet? Because I know that obviously you've accredited Will for the idea, but he wouldn't have necessarily made you go and fill out that form and actually apply. So,
I mean, I think that pretty much, I really had no idea. I was just going to go to Warwickshire College of Agriculture and do a horse thing. And so he suggested it. And even when I went to uni, I don't think I really had any idea what the job entailed. All I had done in terms of seeing practice, and God, you students would never get in now with what experience I had. I did do 2 or 3 weeks of lambing, saw it all. I mean, all. And I had worked on a beef and dairy unit, and I had horse experience. But in terms of watching vets work, I'd done a week watching the really, really dodgy small animal vet in Cyprus. The thing I don't even know what it was I saw, because it was awful. And then I had spent Saturday mornings, because I was away at sixth form college, so I couldn't do anything. No one would take me in the holidays, so all I got was Saturday morning experience watching consults in the vet surgery around the corner from the college. And I wrote down notes about every consult, and I cleaned the table between consults, and I cleaned the waiting room afterwards. And that was all I saw. And they were lucky in that they almost never had procedures on Saturdays or anything. So I really had no idea. When during A-levels, some of the other people on my in my A-level classes were talking about pios and stuff. I had no idea what they were talking about. Not a clue.
oh, wow.
And it wasn't until I was at university that I learned some of the bits about that vets might see regularly. So I was fairly clueless when I went into it. I obviously understand it now. My actual van registration, I did not choose it, is Pio, which is hilarious.
Oh my God. Oh my, I feel like you can't have that. You need to send it back. That's terrible. That's like asking for trouble.
Have a personalised one, doesn't it? It came with it free.
Well, there is that, but I don't know that that's the one you want for free, but okay. Wow. That's, yeah, I mean, yeah, blimey. How amazing that you ended up loving it. You know what I mean? That's lucky, isn't it? Because there's a lot to fight hard.
I thought I was going into it because I didn't really do people, and it turns out that I do, and that is the best bit about the job, is the people. They will ruin your day if you get the odd bad client, or someone who just maybe takes their grief out on you and says things perhaps they didn't really mean, but you take it to heart because that's the kind of profession you're in. But by God, they make your day. You know, they really just like, their gratitude for you just doing your job is incredible. You know, you are just doing your job, and people are massively grateful for it. It is amazing. And the profession is held in such trust, and I feel it's really important that we try and maintain that. You know, I think there's a lot of vet bashing on the internet. I do not read that stuff because, frankly, I know that isn't how most people feel, and all it does is make you feel crap. But
you can't enter into that, and you also have to remember that those things have usually come from a very sensitive moment and a lot of guilt and inner feelings, because those things that happen are not simple. They never are. And even when it's nobody's fault, you still blame yourself. And so that's where those emotions come from. So yeah, there can be some negativity out there. And once it's out there. But you know, you're absolutely right, and that's fantastic that you see the positive in it. That's really good. So
yeah,
well
no, it's
done.
crazy. It's crazy that I ended up loving a job I really probably didn't know enough about.
Well, I'm just glad you loved it. That's
Yeah.
perfect. So I'm just going to go back to our comments because there's loads coming on. It's amazing. So Christine says, although vets are able to tell you who they don't recommend about companies that aren't good at paying out on claims. Oh, bless. Yes, that's just more comments on the insurance situation.
Yeah, so you're not allowed to recommend one company over another, even if you work with them every day, because you're just not allowed to lead people. You know, I just usually ask people to you know, do things like you know, look through the small print and things like that. And they can ask us about the small print. We just can't say company X is better than company Y, you know. But
no, exactly. They made those rules very clear a few years ago, didn't they? And started sending everybody on courses so they could say those things. So I didn't do that course. So Kay says, Barty eats sporadically and seems to be very hungry every third day. And on the other days, he may not eat breakfast until lunchtime and dinner, late or not at all. Is that okay?
I think provided his energy is normal, his poos are normal, he's not vomiting, I probably wouldn't worry too much. What I would probably do is just, on the day he's really hungry, maybe not feed him completely to appetite. I would maybe feed him what you'd expect a dog of his size to eat, and try and just make sure that he's, you know, you're spreading it out. But I think if he's not got any signs of ill health, I probably wouldn't panic about it. Some dogs do seem to have that kind of thing, and if it's accompanied by, you know, gurgly tummies, funny poos, then obviously that's perhaps a sign of ill health. But if he's, you know, doing nice little logs and bounding about and being Barty because he's very lively, he's quite wild. He's really cute little terrier. So yeah, I think if he doesn't seem unwell, I wouldn't worry. But obviously, if he does, that might be something to be concerned about. But bless him.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to be an absolute child and say, hee, you just said poo twice on the internet.
Because
Sorry, it just made me laugh.
Joe Biden, being an American, said "duty" in his speech, which made me giggle too. We'll do our duty.
See, we could be such children, can't we? So Susan says, will you contact my vets directly for my animal's clinical history before you visit, and will you send your clinical notes back to them?
Yes, I haven't. When people are registering, I'm not immediately asking for notes. I'm asking for notes once they've booked an appointment, because there might be visits in between when they've asked to be a client and when they actually want me to come, because they might only want me for a vaccination or whatever. And yes, I won't automatically send notes back for everybody, because I think that's masses of work. But if you want your vets to get the notes back, you can either ask me to send them straight back, or they can contact me and I'll email them back. It doesn't take long to do, but obviously if I'm seeing somebody once a fortnight for acupuncture or whatever, it's just excessive emails if people don't actually want the notes. So yes, I'm more than happy to do it, though. Obviously that's the way that vets should work together, is by sharing notes. And you know, I think it's, at the moment with COVID, everyone's so busy, it's relatively tricky sometimes getting notes out of vet surgeries, because they're just so busy, the phones won't stop and all the rest of it. So I'm trying to make sure I give them loads of notice, but then they always have to contact the client for permission to send things back. So it's often slowed down by that bit. So sometimes I'm saying to the client, do you think you could ask them? Because then it'll save them asking you and then me. But yeah, always share notes. That's what professionals are supposed to do.
Absolutely. Well done. And it's a good question. So well done for asking. And
she's she's spying. She's a vet nurse.
Oh, good for that's all right. Loaded questions. That's okay, because it's what other people will want to know. So thank you very much. So Caroline says, why did you become a horse vet?
Well, right. So I thought that horse vets worked really long hours and got really rubbish money. And it turned out actually that was small animal vets, as my horse vet informed me, that he worked much better hours than me and he probably earned better money.
So,
I know. And also, as I said, business and pleasure. And also, I feel for horse vets that horses are so much harder to treat, and horse people will go often to the the physio, the massage, the crystal healer, the Reiki before they'll get the vet. And as someone who has Bowen therapy on my horse, as I say, I'm one of them too. So it's probably quite frustrating for horse vets, I think, at times when they get called after 6 months of a problem. So yeah, I didn't know all that before I decided to be a horse vet. It was just it was also massively hard to get into horse vetting. If you left uni, the jobs for just horses were like one.
Wow.
Small animal and horses, with any genuine amount of horses, was tiny. Most of the mixed small animal horses, like 5% horses, mostly vaccines and teeth. So
Yeah.
there also wasn't loads of scope for really proper work. Although I reckon I could have really got into it. But yeah, the ability to kind of get a really decent job right away in small animals is so much easier because there's just so many more practices.
It's also, I would say, it's very different as well. I mean, I remember when I went to Newmarket for the equine hospital there, and I did not particularly think it was the most fun place, I'll be honest. Like, as a nurse, I just couldn't think of anything more boring because...
Well, I went to Rossdale's for a week or two, and it wasn't terribly friendly.
Oh.
But they were really nice, but the whole atmosphere wasn't terribly friendly. It was very competitive.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
And yeah, it really didn't make you want to do it. And they, you know, the way their rotating internship one vet did anaesthetics for 6 months, nothing but anaesthetics for 6 months, and then nothing but x-rays for another 6 months or something. It was really, I mean, they got amazing at it, but
yeah,
I do love a bit of variety.
Totally. I mean, that was what I was meaning when I was saying sort of boring bit, was because as a nurse, you're not allowed to do anaesthetics, which obviously is completely different to small animal.
Yeah.
And then, you know, when you're post-operatively watching a case come round, you know, as a nurse, you're in there with your smallies, you're watching them, you're constantly checking them, you know, temperature, pulse, respiration, all those things are being done, you know, and you're really in there, and you might do some physio on waking up or whatever. But when you're a horse vet or horse nurse, you sit outside the stable, and most of them are just reading a magazine. So because you can't be in the stable because it's dangerous. And then you know, and you're there, or like that's your whole day is just sitting there. And I was thinking, God, I hope they get to go to the toilet all right. You know, so it was stuff like that. And so, and your day becomes very focused on one patient, really. So it was a very different world. Yeah, it wasn't particularly for me. So it was a very different thing.
Yeah.
Interesting. So yeah, that was a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Mags has also asked, do you offer monthly payment plans for routine meds?
So it's going to be coming. We were supposed to be having a meeting, Sarah and I, last Friday with Zoetis about setting up VetPost, which is basically where you get your flea worm stuff monthly delivered to your door. So, you know, it comes in the post. And it's one thing a month, so it's much easier to remember to do it, because I think when people go and pick up 6 months worth at a time, I'm one of those people. Oh, it can't be 4 weeks already since we did it. It must be next week. I need to do it. You know, Mags, in fairness, is not one of those people. She will do this exactly anyway. But she's one of those really amazingly organised people that put us all to shame. But yeah, so it will be coming there. I think they're making some tweaks to it anyway. The person we're supposed to be having the meeting with has had to be off sick. So they're looking to reschedule our meeting for February sometime, and then we will get to know a little bit about how to do it. But yes, that will be a plan. And probably to begin with, I'll keep it separate from the rest of the work. But I'm looking eventually to do like a plan that includes your booster and maybe an extra visit during the year or something like that, as, you know, for a slightly increased fee, but haven't kind of dived into the details yet. That's definitely in my plan, though. It's in the little book of things I talked about at the beginning.
Yeah, any business owner has got that book of ideas, and it just grows, and you have to hope you've got time to get through it.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So Susan says, would you visit an animal just for a nail clip or an anal glands or something simple like that, or is it just if they're unwell and don't need a consultation?
At the moment, obviously, we can't, because we're not supposed to be doing anything that isn't sort of required for the animal's welfare within the terms of the lockdown. Now, the difficulty with that is we don't know how long lockdown's really going to be. So doing vaccinations is appropriate, doing puppy vax is appropriate. Trimming nails at those times is fine. We did do an anal glands last week, but that's because the cat was reported as being smelly and they didn't know why. So we went to look at the cat for being smelly. So we did do a visit for anal glands, but we didn't know in advance that's what it was. I'd probably say normally that people could maybe come to the pop-up clinics for those. I mean, if they want to pay for a house visit for us to come and do the glands or the nails, absolutely, but it won't be loads cheaper. We might just charge you for the visit and not for the nails. Charge you for a consult fee rather than, But yeah, we would in non-COVID times. But I also can recommend a really good groomer who is starting to work with a very nervous patient of mine who no one can touch his feet. You've met George, haven't you? He's getting some help with his foot phobia, and their first session this week went really well. So I'm busy passing people on to Hannah, who seems to be some sort of magician with nervous dogs.
Fantastic. Oh, that's really good. Excellent. So Amanda says, Kay Willis, same here, selective hunger. So I think that's back on our conversation about the food. And he's fine, which is fabulous.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I also want to ask, what pets have you got?
So other than Lizzie, the big orange pony that I bred, one small black cat called Tina, who is like a little witch's cat. She's, 2.6 kilos soaking wet, and she is a ferocious hunter.
Oh, wow.
She doesn't catch rabbits very often, but she's had 2 in the time we've had her. And it took her an entire day during last summer to eat the second rabbit. She kept going back to it during the day where it was under the bush. It was kind of fascinating and disgusting all in one. But she's a proper cat, and I respect her for that. I just wish that she didn't leave the little squishy bits that she doesn't want up on our top landing, because when you don't know they're there, you can't decide whether it's good or bad that you had socks on when you trod in the kidney or whatever.
That is disgusting.
Is it better not to have socks on? Is it better to have socks on? I still don't know, because it's happened both ways to me, and I don't know which was worse.
I don't know. I've got a feeling I know what you mean, like, that weird thought process. I don't know which I'd pick either. That is disgusting.
Those cards, like, would you rather this or that? It's one of those.
Yeah, that is disgusting. That is disgusting. We'll move on from there. So I always love asking this question, and it's probably the same answer. What part of being a vet still grosses you out?
It's not just the kidney sock thing. Really stringy, gooey stuff. I mean, and certain smells. I'm quite sensitive to smell, and one of the things I will not miss about not having kennels with sick animals in is the smell of those really disgusting diarrheas. Stringy, particularly stringy vomit. The stringy that's all that yuck.
Yeah, and the big long drool. Are you okay with the plain drool?
Not even just the burners, but the dog drool that when they swing it goes everywhere.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's fair enough. I can totally understand that. So yes, see, Christel is human after all. I'm going to make sure I get through some of my questions, because otherwise I don't get any questions. You've got so many people coming up here, which is lovely. So if you could be amazing at any sport, what would it be? It's going to be dressage, isn't it?
Yeah, I would love to follow in the footsteps. So Lizzie is not a perfectly built horse. She's pretty good, but she's not perfectly built. And she has quite a big head and a very long back. And for dressage, you need your wither to be higher than your bottom, really. And she's level at best. But there are the very best riders in our country have succeeded all the way to Grand Prix and International Grand Prix with horses just like that. Carl Hester did thing, and Laura did it with Alf, who was coincidentally orange with 4 white socks as well. So my aim is to do as much as I can to emulate that. I know it can be done, just not by me probably, but I'm going to try.
Good for you. So if you could do a Facebook Live with anybody, who would it be?
So this was the Dead or Alive, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dead or Alive.
I never got to speak to, because he died when I was 2, my grandmother's other half. He wasn't my grandfather, but he should have been, if that makes sense. He was the person she fell in love with. Gabriel he was an artist. He was a propaganda artist in the Second World War, and he was on Hitler's hit list. But also he was something of an animal healer, apparently, I hear. And he used to look after injured wildlife that he found, and then he would release them, and then they would come back with other injured wildlife. They
Oh,
would bring
wow.
back to him, which is amazing. And he had various other weird mystical parts to him, something to do with spirits, which I would love to be sensitive to all that stuff. I'm not, but he was able to I don't know, he did stuff with spirits, and yeah, that was just cool. I'd love to have really got to know him. You know, his art is amazing. I should have one of his paintings somewhere, but I don't know what happened to it. Weirdly, he painted for me a little cat looking around a door.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, which is really, really lovely. But some of his art was so simple. The two I remember the most was a yellow background with just using the black marks to pick out a tiger. So just its stripes against the yellow background, so no edge. And on a red background, I think, a bull, but like just the horns in black and a faint outline, and then something in yellow, maybe the ring. I've got a vague memory of that. And so they were really simple, big, strong things. But as I say, he did propaganda art, so he was important in the war. So that was kind of
cool. Wow.
Mm.
That is very cool, and a lovely, unique answer. So, yeah, fantastic. That's a really good answer. I feel like I'd like to know him as well. So that's amazing. So tell me something that people may not know about you.
So I would have loved to have been a singer.
Wow.
Been a singer. The problem is I can hold a tune, but I don't have a beautiful voice. Like it's not one of those that I can sing in tunes and stuff, but no one really wants to hear it, if you know what I mean. So I always wanted to sing in a band. I even tried to get on Stars in Their Eyes when I was at uni. I didn't even manage that.
Look, you've managed a lot in life. Oh my God, that's amazing. And that's really hard, by the way. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
what would you have sung?
I really wanted to sing in a band or something. Yeah, but I was just, maybe I wasn't dedicated enough. I didn't really have many singing lessons. And yeah, I think I got put off when people said I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, people are mean like that. I applied for Gladiators, just to be funny.
Did you? Cool.
I didn't get anywhere either, but I just thought that would be so cool to be on Gladiators. Yeah, I wanted to be Storm or Jet.
You actually would like to be a gladiator, not a contender.
No, I was a contender, but if you won the contenders, you could become a gladiator. And I did think, I'd have done either role. So
that would have been cool. That was our Saturday night, wasn't it? That was, our Saturday night was Scylla and Gladiators.
Totally. So what's the most spontaneous thing you've ever done?
Falling in love.
Oh, she's gone all smushy.
Yeah, it probably is. I mean, lots of things I do seem to come out of the blue, but I've thought about them for a long time. But that is the one thing that completely sprang itself on me. So I was having a New Year's party in our home where I lived with the person I was married to, and some people from the yard came, and they were people we'd regularly been drinking with and all the rest of it. And I had never thought anything about anything at all. I wasn't terribly happy in my marriage. It wasn't anyone's fault. We were just the wrong people. But I didn't know I wasn't happy, if I'm honest. Everyone else could see it, not me. And it was past midnight, 2-3 in the morning. The other half had gone to bed. And I was just sat chatting with the guys on the sofa. And then Rich put his hand on my leg. And I kid you not, it was like something hit me like a bolt out of the blue. It was the oddest thing. And yeah, it very quickly precipitated a huge chain of events that meant that I went and lived at Cullinghead for a year, and I watched my Lizzie get born whilst I was 200 meters away. And yeah, it then changed my life very much for the better. And my ex is very much happier. He's married to someone, they're both really horsey, and they've got a child, and he always wanted kids and I never did. So, it's all worked out best for everybody. But yeah, that was definitely the most spontaneous thing I've ever done.
Do you know, that sounds very much like it needs to be a Hollywood movie, if I'm honest. I mean, that is very Hollywood, isn't it? You know, misery, spontaneity, followed by happily ever after. You couldn't get more Disney.
9 years so far.
Congratulations. So I want to hear you plug your team, basically. You know, who have you got on your team that's, you know, helping you achieve your dreams?
Well, obviously, my wing woman is Sarah, who comes to this really fresh. So her granddad was a vet, but Sarah is a writer, and
Oh.
she, yeah, I know, right? And she used to write for the Farmer's Guardian, but she's super smart. She's got 2 degrees and all of this stuff, and she has picked up the technical side of things brilliantly. I'd arranged for us to have 3 days of training. And after 1.5 days of training, she was like, yeah, I think I've done all I need to do. I'll do the rest of it on the job. And she's brilliant. She chases me around with a sanitizer, makes sure I'm doing everything right. She takes the money from people. She doesn't let me discount things too much. Because I'm, a soft touch. She is brilliant at learning all the things. She's really interested. It's amazing. She just wants to know everything. She did want to train to be a vet nurse, but I'm hoping I've persuaded her that this might be a good second to it, and a little bit more variety, a little bit less poo. Said it again. So I think she's brilliant. I interviewed a few people. I spoke to many. I had loads of applications, which was amazing. I'd never even written a job ad, and apparently it looked quite good. So and unbelievably, I got a gut feel, and so far it seems to be great. And yeah, she's fantastic. My other, obviously, huge support is Rich, who has been incredible. He helped tart the ambulance up a little bit, because it was a previous vet van, but he's made it look like a brand new one. We took the old stickers off with all the pictures of animals and put our nice little logo on it. He's really helped, just being encouraging. After initially saying, I really don't think you'll be able to work for yourself. I really think you'll find it too stressful. But after that, he's now gone, you actually can do this. It's fine though. Well done.
Good.
He's been brilliant, really good. He's really put himself out to help me, and he has gone through such a hard time lately that, whether it's helped a little bit, I don't know, but I mean, it's been hard for him to help me when he's been feeling so low. So I'm super grateful. And obviously all the family, particularly my mum, has stumped up a bit of cash to help me get things going, which is great.
Thanks, Mum.
She's not watching now, but yay, thanks, Bank of Mum. She will say that's Grandma and Grandpa because it was their money, but it's all of them. And just just the goodwill of everybody, like the clients of mine who have decided that they would like to follow me despite despite everything, is really lovely. And yeah, it's just really, I'm lucky. I feel like I've got a great big team, and then there's just little me and Sarah on the top.
Amazing. So the other question I always like to ask is, what do you love about physio?
I just love the difference it makes to animals.
Yay, so do I.
So there's a patient of mine who his owner is amazing. He does everything. He has osteopathy. He swims him. He had me do acupuncture, but Archie doesn't really like pins. But he came to me probably 4 years ago, and he walked in, and I said, "How long has he been walking like that?" And he went, "What do you mean?" And I went, "Like he's on eggshells." And he went, "Well, that's how he walks." So, and we x-rayed Archie, and he was still quite young, and he had arthritis in all the joints, and it was really hard breaking that news, and it was really, we made a plan, and he has a really good plan, but he started maybe 6 months ago to struggle with one of his back legs. The owner said his back leg is juddering, and I was like, well, his back leg is juddering because he's not bearing weight on it. That's why. So there's a problem here. So he went to a physio that had some gait analysis. They do the percentages weight, and they could actually prove that he wasn't bearing weight on it. And it's the fact that they've given him all these exercises to do, and the difference it's made to the dog, alongside all the stuff we were already doing, has been amazing. And I've seen patients of yours that just that it makes such a difference to their life. And part of that is it's the participation of the owners. Physio is it's all about the practitioner, but it's 10 or 15% the actual physio session, and 85 to 90% the effort the owner puts in to do all the stuff you want to do, the walking over poles and round things and lifting bits up and make them do a bird dog and, you know, all the rest of it, because physio is about muscular rehab and training, and you only get muscles if you train them. So that's a daily thing. So it's all about the owner and the physio and the vet and the team. It's the vet, I suppose it's the vet-led team. It's the thing they're trying to promote now from the BVA is, you know, the team involves the owner and the animal. You know.
God, it completely does. It completely does. It's absolutely true. And I mean, that's what people always say. How long is it going to take? I said, well, it depends on you.
Yeah.
You know, and every program's different, because it does depend on the owner and how much they can do, and also the patient, how much they will tolerate and do as well and be compliant. And so there's so many factors. And yeah, the therapist is all about leading that program in the right direction at the right time, and
changing as you go.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. Thank you very much for saying that, Christel. Most appreciated. So I'm going to go back to everybody's lovely comments, because they just keep coming. Christine says, what are your views on the lepto jabs and the variant L2, L4 for the boosters and the inoculations, and do you offer both? I know it's a hot potato. It is actually
a hot potato. I do offer both. I think that I think all dogs should be vaccinated for lepto. Step one. I just don't think there should be any discussion about whether or not we vaccinate dogs for a disease that can be passed to humans. We're dealing with coronavirus, which is a disease that's been passed to humans from animals. Boom. Lepto can and will infect your kidneys, your liver, and your brain, same as it does to the dogs. It is a very real thing. I've nursed dogs with lepto. So, you know, and I've seen it pass to an owner. So it does happen. So first of all, I would just say, do it, and do it annually because it needs doing. The others don't need doing annually. Fine. The L2 or L4 thing. So one of the extra L's in the L4, it has been found in the UK. The other one is an abroad one. So if you're going to travel your dog abroad, ever now, because it's possible just about for you to take your dog abroad now. But if you're going to do it, have L4. Okay, because that is abroad. If you're not going to, I'm equivocal. I'm on the fence. My issue with L4 in the puppy stage is that it's got a 4-week and really no leeway on that. It's got 28 days between the first and the second. In terms of getting them out and about and socializing, that is a little bit awkward, because they can have it at 6 weeks and 10 weeks, but not everybody wants their puppies jabbed at 6 weeks. So a lot of people get them done at 8 weeks. That then means you wait till 12 weeks for them to have their second one. Then you need to wait at least a week really before you take them anywhere where they might pick lepto up. So in the interest of people wanting to socialize them sooner and get them out sooner, and the number of reactive dogs we have now makes me wonder if we aren't doing that soon enough and bomb-proofing them enough to everything. I don't know why we have so many more reactive dogs, but it is really hard for the owners that have them. So in the interest of that, I offer people both, and I explain, and I let them choose. I have a lot more L2 vaccines in the fridge than I do L4s, because I think that's how most people go. It's also quite a lot cheaper for the vet. But that doesn't matter. I offer both, and I charge the same. But L4 is at least double the cost of L2, which I suppose there's 4 in there, not 2, right? But yeah. But also L2's been around a lot longer, so it probably is cheaper to make. I don't know. But yeah, I just do lepto. Tell me which one you want, fine. But just don't skip it. I really don't think it's in anybody's interest. And someone who lives local to me, their dog did have it, and he had it, and he did survive, but it was touch and go, and it's a nightmare for the handling and the nursing, because all the staff are at risk of it, and you know, you don't want to be putting your vet staff at risk either.
No, that's nasty. That's really nasty. I've seen plenty of parvos, and I've seen a distemper, but I must admit I haven't seen a lepto.
I've never seen a distemper, and when I was teaching Sarah about infectious diseases, I actually had to look it up, and I learned that distemper used to wipe out whole towns of dogs because it's so easy to pass on, because they only have to like get nose to nose. It's, you know, they needed to wear masks to stop using it. But it's so preventable by vaccine, same as parvo, same as you know, hepatitis. Those vaccines are very good, which is why they last so much longer. But yeah, it's a tricky one.
Excellent. So well answered. And so Sarah, I'm assuming Sarah Jones is the assistant.
That's her.
How did you end up with a dodgy assistant? Bless you. You obviously are well loved. And Kay says he likes to eat socially too, so that'll be back on the food comment.
Well,
And Rosemary, I feel like I want to hear you sing this. Oi, oi, oi. But I've lost all context of that, I'm afraid. And she said, bless my George.
Yes.
I actually haven't met George.
Haven't you? Oh.
Oh no, did I meet him? I think I met him as a real tiny pup. I think I did meet him as a real tiny pup. Yeah, bless him.
Very handsome and for some reason unbelievably anxious.
I've seen lots of photos of him.
Rose has done everything right forever, and one day he decided, "You don't touch my feet," and that was that.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah, but they may be making some progress, so good.
It couldn't be a better owner, so you know, yeah, Rosemary will have it. She will have it. And Stephanie says, my cat does that too. Is it a kidney or liver? Oh. Yeah, gross.
Usually it's the gallbladder or the stomach that they leave, if I'm honest, but I usually inspect it, and the thing I trod in was a kidney. Yeah.
I was going to say, you've definitely inspected that. That's gross. And Caroline says, pus. Don't all love pus.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly. I mean, I quite like a pussy.
Yeah. We'd never list pus in the things that gross us out. Well, you can't be a vet and hate pus.
I don't like chunky pus. When it goes bop, 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 that's disgusting. I don't like that. The stuff that comes out rabbits.
Rabbit, oh yeah, rabbit pus is grim.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Becky, bless you.
Thank you for all your help with Lucy, especially when she kept keeping us all on our toes in her final years. Oh, bless. Oh, well done. Thank you for saying, Becky.
That's really fun.
And Christine is back again. She says, top tip, Ace bleach is excellent at getting slime slobber marks out of trousers. Owning boxers can be slobbery at times. Yeah, it can.
I love boxers, but I do wish they were less drooly. I can handle the full stomach punch that happens, but the drool is something else.
Yeah, I must admit, I remember Christine's boxers, and actually they were pretty good on the slobber front, which was quite impressive. But she's obviously, you know, perhaps they're not like that all the time. Maybe they're on best behaviour for me.
Maybe.
Susan says, "Oh yes, I remember all those karaoke nights. Stick with the vetting."
Wow.
You've been told.
See what I mean? You don't want to listen to it.
Steve says, go on, give us a quick verse of song, Christel. Bit of Northern Soul, perhaps. Oh, I agree. I must admit, I would love to hear you now as well.
No, you wouldn't.
Oh, Rosemary says, I have met George, and he was about 4 months old. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking in the end, was like, I think I met him right as a pup. So, yes. Oh, I want another cuddle with him now. He was so cute. But I have seen his photos, and he's growing amazingly. And then Christine also says, thanks for the great information on the vaccine, Lepto. I did have one dog that couldn't be vaccinated due to the IMTP, but my current monster is vaccinated for L2 since a puppy, and she's 7.5 years old now. That's fabulous. Actually, funnily enough, one of the people I did live interview with, Diana, a few weeks ago or just before Christmas, she's a dog trainer, and she was talking about the reactiveness, and that was a point. It was talking about puppy breeding and how much socialization should be done at an early age, and it was a fascinating subject and really, really interesting.
I know that there probably were always reactive dogs, and maybe we didn't recognise them, but I do feel like there are many more reactive dogs. I mean, it got to a point at Castle where there was almost more dogs waiting to come in the side door than would come in the waiting room. Like it was, you know, there's always more antisocial dogs than social dogs, which meant that they were all queuing upwards and seeing one another anyway.
Oh, bless. Oh, so Christine has also said, and rightly so, she says, mine are clean-headed ones, hence not slobbery. Yay! Well done. So just to wrap this all up, I wanted to ask you, what is your top tip for getting through winter?
I think making sure that they're warm if they are a short-coated breed. Obviously, it's the perfect weather for your huskies and all of those. You know, they do not need coats. They are loving it. They hate summer, and you know that's their time to shine now. So coats for the whippets and things, definitely. Even if they don't, and even the border terriers, even if they don't think it's fashionable, if they're going to shiver, maybe let them have a coat or make them have a coat. And keeping those paws clean when they've been on salted roads. Just wash them every time they've been out walking on roads, because that that salt isn't pleasant, and it'll make them lick and it'll make them sore, and you'll also get the gravel off as well that tends to get in between their tootsies.
Fantastic. So Christine just said the last thing was, yes, socialization is really important, especially as pups and training. I completely agree. Yeah. So I just wanted to say my quick tip for COVID lockdown: hire a hot tub. Best thing ever. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up now. Thank you so much. It has been amazing talking to you, Christel. I've had so much fun. I've enjoyed learning everything about you and your new venture. And thank you to our wonderful audience for joining in. And I look forward to seeing you at our next Cup of Tea with a Vet. So bye, everybody.
Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye.
Yay, she sung.